everyone, this is Brianna and I'm going to show you how to create and then incorporate Padlet into your instructional lessons. So first, as the teacher, you're going to have to go to the Padlet website. The easiest way I found to do it is just search it in your engines. And then you have to create an account. So it's free and it's easy to use with your email address. So once you log on, this is the first screen that you come to. If you want to create a new Padlet, you're going to click right here. I'm going to start with showing you some ones that we have done in our third grade classroom. We've been using it in the area of reading to kind of expose the children to using technology and another source of resources and academic learning. So we've created a bunch. The one I'm going to show you today is about Bethany Hamilton. They create and save all of the Padlets that you've done, so it's nice you can go back and use them and revisit them as your theme or your lessons continue to go on. As you build a Padlet, you have to have multiple pages that are embedded in a resource page. That's why it looks like there's so many that are listed here. So the one I'm going to show you first is a resource page that the students accessed originally. And in order to have the students access this, we just copied and pasted the shared UDL into a Word document, and all they had to do was click on it. In order to find that, you just go to Share and Export, and then you just copied this into a Word document for the students to click on, and it brought them right to that. They don't need to log on or do anything in order to access this lesson. So in order to have multiple activities within a Padlet, you need to create something which is kind of like a resource page, and then from there you open up various tabs and windows in order to find extra information. So, excuse me, on this activity we had students first watch a video about Bethany Hamilton in order to kind of build some background knowledge. They might have known her from the movie The Soul Surfer. However, we wanted to kind of give the students an opportunity to hear her story firsthand. So the students first watched this video, which if you clicked on it, it opens it up in a new page, which allowed the students to access the technology individually using headphones, which I also let them learn through something other than just reading and answering questions. So the students could keep it like this. If you scroll down though and you clicked on source, it would make it larger for the students to use as well. When you're finished on one of these pages, you can just click this red X and it will take you back to the resource page. After the students did watch that video, we then wanted them to respond. So to me, the best way to look at this is it's kind of a way for students to use a sticky note and kind of just jot down their own ideas, which also allows them to practice their keyboarding skills. So we had them click on this, which I will then make larger by clicking this source button right here. And if you noticed, it then opened it up in a new tab right up here. So we wanted the students to be able to respond to a video by asking a question and kind of seeing what else they wanted to learn and what they still wondered about her as a person. We did this lesson as we were talking about the keyword determination. So we had students have their names were already typed in here, so they had to find their name, and then they practiced typing. So it allowed them to interact with technology as well as collaborate and work with one another, because after the students did this, they were able to see what their peers were responding and what their questions were, and then it kind of gave us an opportunity to have a class discussion based on their individual ideas and questions. So this was really nice because it allowed the students to look at various tabs at the same time, and with technology evolving, they're needing to use technology more and more in order to use Park. So they have to start being able to use how to get from one tab to another tab and kind of maneuver and manipulate the internet in an effective way. So once students did this and we discussed it, we then took it a step farther. So I'm going to go ahead and close this tab, and I'm going to use this red X and close. And it took me back to my resource page, which is kind of your home base where you start and where everything is located for your lesson. After students kind of got a feel for Bethany and Hamilton, we then had an article that we wanted them to read. So the students were asked to click on this, which brought it up. Again, we asked students that if they could make it larger. They just clicked on this source and it opened it up in a new tab. And then the students were able to read on the computer individually. And we really wanted them just to see what else they could learn about Bethany Hamilton. Harford County doesn't have, at least in my school, very many opportunities to use technology and to allow students to read on the computer. And I feel, and my co-teacher and I felt it was a very important skill to have them read on a screen rather than a paper version. We did have some copies available if students needed that to kind of reinforce or better have a better understanding and comprehension. However, this lesson allowed for us to read on the screen and be able to kind of make meaning using technology. So students read this article. It was pretty short. It wasn't very long. It kind of just was about the instance. And if you notice on this part, it does have a printable version. After they read this, they had to respond to another question, so that required them having to go back to their other tab. We did encourage the children to keep this tab open, so they were going back and forth between two various websites. So then the students had to click back onto where it says Bethany Hamilton and close the little red box. And then they had an article question, which they were required to scroll down here and click on this in order to use the post-it note type activity. So they would have to open that. So ultimately, at the end of the lesson, we kind of scaffolded and built it upon having multiple tabs open. So the students were having to go back and forth between the response to the article, which is you're seeing right now, as well as the actual article in order to cite their evidence and get their facts accurate. So we worked on kind of that skill of just knowing how to navigate the internet and the computer. And then they had to respond to a question, and they also had to ask more questions. The purpose of this lesson was kind of to build background and get them prepared and kind of give them an insight as to who Bethany Hamilton was. At the end of this lesson, we then used the following days to kind of do some more reading and do some more paper and pencil type of activities with her as well. So the children really were engaged during this lesson. We took them to the computer lab, so they each had their own computer. They had an opportunity to use technology, which they have at their homes all the time, and they were able to work with one another as well as practice those important skills that they need in the future, such as reading on the computer and going back and forth between tabs. It does take a lot of time to kind of teach the children how to use this. So before we even went to the computer lab, we had it set up on the whiteboard in the classroom and kind of assisted the children with where to navigate. And then we also had a teacher computer in the classroom that was linked to a screen where they could kind of follow along step by step with us. We have done other lessons subsequently on Padlet, and they are showing that they have a better understanding of it. They also really enjoy kind of seeing what their peers are saying. So it kind of just allows them that opportunity to be exposed and access technology in a different way. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this Bethany Hamilton article as well as this one. And I'm now back on the original Padlet lesson. Real quickly, I can show you how to create a Padlet. So if you click on your home page right here, you're going to go to something that says create a new Padlet. And you just get a blank screen. Within this blank screen, you can go to where it says modify this wall and this little toggle. And you can add a picture to it. You can give it a title. You can change the wallpaper, the layout. And this kind of shows how like the kids are going to be responding. So if you want them to be kind of where they can click and move to where they want to go, or whereas the stream or a grid, it's kind of more concrete. Trying to think of some others. This is how we created our Padlet wall and our name. So this is what we kind of put in for the children to use already. If you go to If you want to type something, you just then double click. You type in, oh, excuse me. You just double click your name so that you know who the person is, who this is about, and then you can kind of share your reaction with peers. If you want to create multiple pages, it will automatically save this for you. If I go to my home page, this is the one that I just started today. So the way that they have it sorted is by date. They put the most recent ones on top. So this is what I did today. So if I wanted to use this page as my resource page, I would then have to create a new Padlet in which I'm asking students or somebody to respond to a question. What you then have to do from here is you have to copy this URL, go back to the one you created as your home page, which was this one. And then if you click on this part, it'll allow you to add a URL. So I'm going to copy and paste that in and hit add. So what that just allowed me to do is that allowed me to create a second Padlet and link it to the very first one. That is one of the drawbacks that I found on this website, just because it takes a lot on the planning and preparation stage. You kind of have to have your lesson mapped out and know how many extra links or Padlets you're going to have to create, and keep in mind that you do need a home base or a resource page in order to store all of those so that the children have a clean-cut way to access them effectively. You can also go ahead and add images to them. If you go to this modify wall, if you don't see a photo that you like here that kind of lends to a lesson, you can go ahead and copy or you can save one from Google Images and you can put it in here. Just click add. That's what we did with our Bethany Hamilton one. And then you also can change the background to kind of meet your needs. One of the other drawbacks that we found in subsequent lessons, we were working with other students or other people who have determination, and we found a video. However, the video clip was unable to work because here's the video that I'm referencing. And this was how the students responded. The video clip, it was off of YouTube, and as the students were signed in under their own student account names on the computers, they were unable to access that video clip. So it's important that whatever videos or images you want them to see, they can access on their student accounts rather than the teacher's accounts. It took just teaching on your kind of changing as you go, and we showed it as a whole class, and then they responded. So the students really enjoy this because it allows them to use the computer and take on that ownership and kind of share their ideas with others, and it just exposes them to more technology. In the future, we want to continue using this and seeing what other ways we can kind of incorporate it into our classrooms. So this is Padlet. It's a really good activity. It really involves students collaborating with one another, and it allows them to kind of share their ideas without necessarily having to use their voices orally. They can kind of share it as